Hello there, YouTube. What is going on now? It's me, Gabe Nagle, here, back at you with another U.S. weather forecast. By the way, my channel name is Weather Buddies Forecast, etc. I'm meant to introduce that to you guys, but we are going to be doing another 7-day U.S. weather forecast. If you guys like weather-related content, like my videos and stuff, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, share with family and friends, and don't forget to ring that bell icon for the latest updates. Let's get started with the video, shall we? Alright, here's our U.S. weather forecast as of September 19th, 2023. Some stormy weather in the northern plains, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off with the GFS model, and we're only be doing two models in this precipitation forecast and only one model in the temperature forecast, and then I'll have my forecast after that. Alright. Okay. So, there's some stormy action right there in the Kansas and Oklahoma. Got some really good looking storms popping up right there. There's a low exiting the interior New England states, and most action is actually going to be focused. When I was talking about stormy northern plains, it's going to be focused over that area I just circled. That's where a lot of the stormy weather is going to occur. We also have scattered activity in Colorado and parts of the Intermountain West. It's definitely worth to keep an eye on to see what happens. And check this out: snowfall starting to appear in the very upper tier of the United States, and this is in Canada, but in those areas. We gotta watch that, because throughout this model run, you're gonna see occasional high mountain snows, high elevated mountain snows popping up here in that area just circled. Okay, so this is for tomorrow. Now this is for Thursday, September 21st, and this particular storm does start to, or this complex of storm starts to slow down. There is supposedly going to be a tropical system, however, that's going to develop just off the east coast of Florida. As of right now, it's just showing a disorganized cluster of thunderstorms. But there's going to be this tropical system that's going to kind of go up the coast a little bit and then bounce back a little bit to the south. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see what that goes. As for the Intermountain West and the Upper Great Plains, got some scattered activity and some very, very high elevation snows. Gotta keep an eye on that. Okay. Next slide. So this is for Friday, and as again you can tell that there it is. Now I don't want you guys to think that does not look like a tropical system. Well, not as of in this particular slide that I'm in right now, but the next slide you'll start to see the characteristics of a tropical-like system developing. As for the northern plains, again, starting to get very stormy in those areas. The area I circled earlier ago, Nevada, Idaho, and Montana also going to get affected a little bit. Same with the Washington and Oregon states, and again, scattered activity across Oklahoma. So yes, let's keep an eye on that. Make sure that any of these particular storms. So yeah, we're just going to keep an eye on them. All right, now we're moving to the 23rd. Okay. 23rd, here we go. So there it is. It is going at this point, it should be considered a tropical system. I don't know the name of the system though, because I didn't do a hurricane update on this. Because again, the system kind of popped up out of nowhere in the recent models, so it's kind of one of those things where it was really unexpected, didn't expect it to happen. But yeah, and then there's that stormy action I was talking about in the northern Great Plains. Very isolated and scattered, isolated in nature type thunderstorms down there near the mid-south. Of course, nothing going on in Florida at this point. Florida, I don't think is really going to get impacted by this tropical-like system. They may get some high tides and waves, but that's about it. And then Michigan in the Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula, there could be some scattered showers in that area, which that part of the country does need more. Michigan and those states, they do need more rain. I can agree with that. Alright, next slide. We got one more slide after this on this model, and we'll be jumping to the next slide. Alright. Okay, so there it is, that tropical system. At least supposedly that's what it's indicating on this model. It's going to impact Delaware and, not Delaware, yeah, I think Maryland and Delaware. So in fact, those areas the worst. There is that the northern plains activity that I was telling you about. A 997 millibar low just to the south and east of this could turn into a really good low pressure system. So we gotta keep an eye on that. As for the northwest, on this particular day, it's gonna be dry. Again, this is Sunday, September 24th. Alright, now we got Monday, September 25th. This is our last slide. There's that low. You can see there's a little bit of a curlicue there. And the funny thing is, this model's not picking up on any low pressure system in that area, but there clearly is a counterclockwise curlicue. So there is a low pressure system there, just model's not really picking up on it. And we're starting to get more action in the northwest, of course. So yeah, we gotta keep an eye on these storms and see what happens. We're going to the Canadian model now. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Again, scattered activity in Utah, Colorado. Scattered activity in Oklahoma and parts of Kansas. And scattered activity in Florida, of course. Only areas that are seen on. So again, this is for tomorrow, September 20th. So yeah, not much on this map for tomorrow. So it's gonna be kind of a quiet day. And then there again, a disorganized cluster of thunderstorms right over Florida. And again, actually a pretty decent low. It looks like it's trying to get going right here. It's really hard for me to say, but there's a really nice. It's a 998, so it's a 998. But I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on that storm and see what it does. And then, of course, what's going on here in Florida, because there is a lot of disorganized thunderstorm activity in Florida. As for the northern plains, we'll start to see stuff here in a second. Just got to give it another slide or two and see what happens. Alright, here we go. So now we're moving to Friday, September 22nd. Things get pretty active at this point. There's that low pressure system. It did go up a little bit, so it has weakened a little bit, but it got more shower activity. Again, very high mountain snows in the area right there. And then we got more scattered activity, of course, across Oklahoma and Texas. Very light scattered nature activity in New Mexico. And there's that tropical system. Again, I know it doesn't look like a tropical system in this particular frame, but models are hinting that it's going to turn into a tropical system. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that. And as for the rest of the country, not really much going on. Dry in the New England states, dry in the middle plains, and dry in the south parts of the southwest and California coast. Alright, so this is okay. So Saturday, September 23rd. Again, a really now it's starting to look like an organized tropical system. Now I can't say if this is actually going to be a hurricane or if it's just going to be a massive low pressure system. I think it will be a hurricane if it reaches hurricane status. As what I'm seeing right here is more like tropical status. As for the northern Great Plains, you got some massive storms up there. Some pretty heavy stuff in the rain in central Montana, actually, got a nice cluster of storms. And scattered activity, of course, across the mid-south and parts of the south. Not a whole lot of activity right now, but there's scattered activity there. As for the southwest and interior New England, it's quiet in both of those areas at this moment. Okay, now we're going to September 24th, Sunday. As you can tell, that activity I was talking about the Great Plains, really looking active right there in the northern Great Plains. We also have, it looks like another low pressure system trying to form right there, but according to what this model is saying, it's actually right over the area I just circled. Okay, and then there's that tropical system I was telling you about. It looks like it could be possibly a hurricane. I mean, it was offshore for a minute, so wouldn't be surprised. And other than that, except for the northwest, the rest of the country is dry, scattered, maybe scattered to isolated thunderstorms is what I'm generally seeing across the rest of the U.S. All right, one more slide. Here we go. This is our last slide for precipitation. As you can tell, there is a low pressure system forming there, kind of like the previous one that was not being indicated, but was showing up on this model. And then finally, that storm, that particular tropical system weakens. It's still a storm. At this point, it's just a normal low pressure system because it's gone deep into the coast. So yeah. All right, we are gonna move on to my temperature, or not my temperature, the temperature forecast. So here we go. Ready? GFS model. I think I only have one model for this, so because all models surprisingly agree temperature-wise. But so we're just gonna get to this temperature forecast real quickly, and then move on my forecast. So I know you guys are eagerly waiting. All right, so across most of the Mid-Atlantic and eastern half of the United States, just about slightly below average, while the middle of the country experiences well above average temperatures. The Northwest could also be slightly cool, and parts of the coast of California. So yeah. Alright, moving on. This is for tomorrow, and we're moving on to Thursday. Again, a very broad area of warm weather. It actually does move east a little bit. So over in the Mid-Atlantic, it starts to warm up there. Florida stays cool, however, and so does interior New England states and New York. So we'll keep an eye on that. While the Northwest is actually starting to get another cool down. Also, parts of the Southwest experience some cool down. Okay, so yeah. Alright, we're moving on to the next slide. There it is. The heat's moving east. It's moving in the east-southeasterly direction, so we gotta keep an eye on it. And look, it's starting to cool down in the west, while the middle part of the country now is experiencing, dead middle of the country is experiencing above average temperatures. And of course, the Mid-Atlantic starts to warm up there too. The only areas that are cool are New England and Florida and Georgia. Only states that are in the cool average on that side of the country. Alright, and then the cool air does hang on. It desperately hangs on here in this area. Warm air does starts to get crushed a little bit. It's getting restrained a little bit by some of this cool air intruded in the Northwest. So yeah. So I'm not surprised. Again, and this is September 23rd, Saturday. So yeah. Okay. Now let's see what we got going on here. So now the Intermountain West is experiencing slightly below average temperatures. So is the West Coast, of course. East Coast, once again, slightly below average. The only area that's experiencing well above average is this area right here. Right in the zap dead center of the country. So in the Great Plains and parts of the western half of the Midwest. So yeah, you can experience some stormy or some warmer weather there in those areas. Okay, I think we have one more slide after this, and we'll go to my forecast. Okay, this is the last slide on temperature. The interior New England stays cool. Florida does start to warm up a little bit. They're still on the cooler side, just not as cool. West Coast is cool. Same with the Mid-Atlantic. There's two pockets of warm weather here. One in the Midwest and Mid-South, and then one in the Intermountain West, and then the Southwest, the desert Southwest. So there are two pockets of warm air. This, however, may change, but as of right now, there's two pockets of warm air, and this again is on Monday, September 25th. Alright, I know you guys have been waiting, so let's go ahead and go to my forecast. Alright, my first one, of course, is precipitation. Now these forecasts are going to look a little different from what you saw in the previous stuff. I went by like model analysis and everything like that, but as you can tell, most of this part of the country, most of the Great Plains, is going to be well above average. Also, because of that little tropical system I was telling you about, there's going to be above average right in the Mid-Atlantic coast. This down here, I didn't label it because it's a small area, but it's just slightly below average. So anywhere from southern half of California all the way to southwestern tip of New Mexico could experience below average precipitation. It's not the highest. It's only on a 1 scale, so you still may get thunderstorms in that area, but it's going to be not as stormy. But it's, again, this is based off of probability too. So you may get storms in some areas. You may get some storms in Tucson or Los Angeles. So there you go. It's just not completely below average. If we were in the third shade, that would be different. But we're not in the third shade. All right, guys. We're moving on to my temperature forecast, and we'll be done for the day. All right. Now my temperature forecast was also made in an interesting way too. I did not go by. I subsided with the models, but I also went by my own forecast for this because I already know that the temperature forecast on a lot of models is always showing a lot warmer than it's supposed to be. So yes, you do see above average all across the center of the country. Hence, that's what you were seeing in the forecast in the model of the forecast. Northwest, of course, is going to be cool right now. the interior New England and Pennsylvania and West Virginia and Virginia are going to be also below average. That's going to be slightly below average here, so you may have some more temperature fluctuations there than over here. But as of right now, I didn't put a third shade in there because I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's going to get that hot in the middle of the country. So, alright guys, that about wraps it up. If you guys love this weather-related content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, share with family and friends, give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to ring that bell notification icon for the latest. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day.